So the Paris Agreement that we just negotiated and that a number of countries just signed yesterday on Earth Day. The agreement we shaped is not going to, by itself, solve climate change. The science argues that the world is going to need to do a lot more in order for us to prevent catastrophic climate change. But my strategy from the start has been, all right, if I can get the Chinese to agree with us as the two largest emitters that we have to do something, and lock in China with us for the first time to take some serious steps around reducing carbon emissions. And if by getting the two largest emitters, I can now leverage all the other smaller countries to also put in their own targets for emissions. And if we can set up an architecture that recognizes the need for carbon reduction and can allow people to, allow countries to hold each other accountable, then that's a start. And we can now start turning up the dial as our science and our understanding improves, as technology improves, so that poor countries don't feel that they have to choose between development and carbon reductions. And there are all kinds of compromises in that. But it's a start. Now, there are some climate activists who, after the Paris Agreement was signed, said, this is not enough. But they're not in a conversation, apparently, with Prime Minister Modi of India, for example, who's thinking, I've still got several 100 million people without electricity, and I have some obligation to try to relieve them of their poverty and suffering. So I've got to balance those equities against the imperatives of the planet as a whole. And so now the good news is that most of the groups that have been involved in this process have been pretty sophisticated. But that's a general principle that I think all of you should consider.